Welcome back. This is another episode of the Más Fútbol Podcast, the number one soccer podcast in Oklahoma City. You know me, I am the host, Ricardo Ulloa, and I'm not here by myself today because I am here with a great guest, my guy Garrett. How are you, my friend?
I love that part. The clapping. I'm good. I'm glad to be in this room with you.
Likewise. I feel just walking into this building feels like my creative juices just start going. But
that
first,
means everything.
I haven't put out an episode in a very long time, so
Yep.
I feel like I have to come out and say that I have been on hiatus. I just had another baby girl.
Congratulations.
So hallelujah to Antonella. She's out there.
Antonella, that's such a beautiful name.
Thank you. So
Dude, that's exciting.
It is exciting.
And I'm glad that I'm on this episode for you to be able to say that. Like, I feel special.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I had to take a step back, had to
For sure.
reevaluate myself because I felt like a new person, you know, once you have a baby. And now I'm back and ready to get the show
Isn't
started.
that interesting how it kind of like, no matter which baby it is you have, it could be 1, 2, or 3, how much you change every time?
You have to because you
That's
can't.
why I stopped having kids.
You know,
I don't want to keep changing too much. I'm getting mean and mad all the time.
That's true. I think I might have to take that one up. No more kids. It might be cheaper that way too. Today is the first day of Futsal League here
Winter
at Belmiro.
Futsal League. Yep.
Walking in here has been a vibe. For those that haven't been here, you're totally missing out. But how has everything been with Belmiro up till today?
Man, it's been great, honestly. I mean, obviously, and a really close friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but he always says, like, nobody climbs a smooth mountain, right? Mm-mm. And as you know, because you're in here at Belmiro with us in the studio, is that obviously like moving into a facility in itself is difficult. That's why there aren't very many of them probably.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like moving houses. You got to move everything.
Except like a huge house, right? And so like I was actually telling somebody yesterday, my joke is, you know why nobody else has a futsal facility? And they're like, why? I'm like, because I have to do all this crap. Mm-hmm. But it's totally worth it. And, you know, it just keeps getting better and better. Programs are filling up. You know, you've been in here.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear the whistle being blown right now with the programs. How does that make you feel knowing that every interaction that goes on, every foul that happens, every goal, every loss is just going to build on these players? But how does that feel that it's coming from your facility? It's
very special. And it's something I take a whole lot of pride in. We take a lot of pride in. As you can tell, like you're in and around our staff, right? They're all like Sport and Invicta. They love this place just as much as I do, right? Which is a lot. And so I think that we can get so busy, though, being in the fight, you know, trying to pull it off. Leagues are very difficult. Mm-hmm. Running an academy is very difficult. You know, logistics for rentals are difficult. And so you can get bogged down with a lot of that stuff. And I started coming up for air maybe a couple weeks ago, right? As we like got into the groove, we knew that leagues were going to come off and be awesome. And I was like, this is really cool. And then you've been posting videos too, and I can see all these people that I've never seen before. And I'm like,
smiling.
That's cool. Smiling, having fun. Yes.
Building bonds through sweat on the field.
Yes.
It's kind of like having a baby.
It is. You know? Yeah. No, it is. No. And it like, it's funny because my brother Evan used to say, you know, like, that place is your baby. You got to rock it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I feel like it's almost like a garden or something. You know, we're cultivating this place. So if you were ever to come in here and expect it all just to be done in one day, you know, you're probably going to be disappointed. Mm-hmm. But if you're a part of it, and that's what we're trying to do. That's a great way to put it. Everybody that walks in the door is a part of the growth. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's very special. It means a lot to me and my family, right? Yeah. Cass and the girls like take a lot of pride in it. So
it's a journey, you know.
It is, yeah.
Some people will come in day one and be like, "Oh, this is new," you know. Oh, they're so lucky, you know. It must be easy, but they don't know that you literally got hit by a freaking tornado. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's amazing, and I see that you got goosebumps just thinking about it.
I know, I did. Yeah, and it's like that's kind of the secret sauce too, is trying to make it look really easy.
Yeah.
Right, like making it seem like seamless, which we don't always do. You know,
it's like being a parent. Make it look easy. Isn't it crazy?
Like being a parent. It is. Well, and you're like face to face with it right now with a 4-month-old, right? Like, but yeah, it is such a special place, and I love it to hear what people say when they first come in, right? And like you just said, you're like, man, it's a vibe. You know, I hear that a lot, and that makes me feel really good because that's what we wanted to create. Mm-hmm. Are you picking that up?
Yeah, I can hear it, and it's beautiful. Yeah. I
awesome,
hope the mics are picking it up too.
Dude, I for real am like goosebumping out right now.
That's what I want to do. Maybe I can go out there with my mic and just pick up the sights and sounds.
Let's just.
Hold on, let me turn up the mics real quick.
That's unbelievable.
You did that.
We did that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, like together we can build an army, right? Yeah. Like not one, that's what I love about this. Not one person can do this. It's literally impossible, right?
It takes a tribe.
It does. Absolutely. But it gets bigger and bigger.
And more exciting.
There's
a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking about, because Carlitos came in last night. What a fantastic kid. We were talking about him earlier. I feel like I talk about him a lot.
We have talked about him a lot on the podcast.
Great. Yeah. And we're talking about how, like, because we were saying he started when he was very young. So he's been to Dallas. He's been to Canada. He's been all over playing futsal. And the first time, you know, we just see somebody get rainbowed or something like would happen. Now it's not like that's totally unique in futsal. 10 years ago, oh my God, wow. Yeah. But now it's like these kids are coming up in futsal. Like
that's just another like rainy normal day at Belmiro.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I think that says something not only about our facility, but about the sport, about our community, you know, which Oklahoma City, man.
Well, let's toot our horn a little bit. I mean, you guys are producing players, right?
Yeah.
You guys have Alex Guti right now, who just got called up to play with the under-17 Mexico national team.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's sporting the big number 9 on his back.
Unbelievable.
So, Alex, if you're seeing this, keep doing your thing, bro.
Yeah, and he will. He's like so focused.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's like another thing we're talking about with Carlos is like now we can go back and look at over 1,000 players that we've had over 15 years, and we can say, okay, well, these players were all good. Why were these players good over the last 10 years? Different? Yeah, what did they do different? Or what did their parents do different? Or what did their school do different? What did their club coaches do differently, right? And there's some common links there.
What are the common links?
Well, I would say the most important one, well, I'll start with this. We were talking about Alex. Same thing with Carlos. But I was talking to my daughter Kennedy, and I said, you know, the difference with Alex and Carlos and these players is when they walk into this facility, as they're walking through the foyer, yeah, they're like, hey, what's up? Yeah, hi, you know. But I can tell that their wheels are turning. They're scanning who's here. They're scanning who's down on the court. As they go down the stairs to the court, what's up? Yeah, But as Alex is putting on his shoes to get ready, he's still scanning. He's still looking around. Whereas, you know, 80% of these high school kids that age are coming down with their PJs on.
Yeah.
Being the cool guy, right? And so that's one thing, is just like loving it so much that's what's on your mind first all the time. And then the second thing is parents that are willing. This is probably the most important. I think that you can become that dialed in from parents allowing you to have the freedom to learn in the process, right? Fail on your own. You know, these kids are very independent. And so, yeah, parents just allowing the process to happen, not micromanaging a career. That's probably the most important thing that we've been able to like really highlight as something that hops out. It's like every single one of these players, man, their parents were just supportive and excited when they did well and like helpful when they failed. They didn't like make that worse or overhype the excitement. It was always just kind of like measured, you know, responses. And so that's where we're at right now as Academy, is we're trying to like 360 that. Can we get really cool, supportive parents that are educated about what's really happening, right? And when that happens, are the kids more dialed in? Yeah, right? And now can we multiply that by 100, you know? And so, hey, what's up, kid?
Let me get his chair and his mic.
Oh, cool. You have another mic?
Yeah, of course.
Good.
We got 4 mics.
Good.
Bear with me 1 second. We'll put a pause.
Like we can be back in the office. Listening to a game, and it's like there's one parent that's just
so and so's here.
Oh, she's here, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I just want you to experience this real quick.
Of course we do this, and it's a timeout or something.
Yeah. Or there's like somebody complaining. We hear like John getting a red card.
where we left off with Garrett. I don't know how we got in this tangent of Garrett explaining what traits he has seen the best players that have gone through Invicto have. We brought up Alex. He said Carlos. And one of the things that he said is that the parents have such a huge role in that because they are providing their kids that space to fail, to learn, to grow, and giving them that safe space. That's basically where we left off. But do you know or have noticed any traits that you see that have made those players, go on to play in the national teams? Like what makes those kids stand out that every other kid just isn't doing?
I mean, I think that there's the parents are a huge factor in that. I think a lot of people don't give that role nearly as much credit as it deserves. Also, there's levels to the game, right? And when you see some of these players, the technique, the touch that a kid like Carlos has or that Alex has, you watch him next to 15 other players that are all very good, and it's like, they if you don't know what you're looking for, it's like, man, these kids are all just really good. But if you pay attention to the intricacies of what they're doing, Alex just does it a little bit better. Like Carlos just does it a little bit better. And when you're talking about playing at the highest level, that little bit better is the difference between making it and not. But the reason, I think, a lot of the reason at least, why I think that the parent role doesn't get as much credit as it deserves is because the reason they do that stuff better is, one, it's their own drive. I think you got to give kids like Carlos and Alex and Lane and these other kids, you got to give them a lot of credit because they spend hours and hours and hours by themselves, stuck in when nobody else is training, right? They're the one that, you hear people all the time that are like, man, if you're in here playing video games, and you hear parents all the time, then somebody somewhere's out there training and getting better than you. Alex is the kid that was training and getting better than you. Carlos is the kid that's training and getting better than you. But so you have to give them a lot of credit. But the other thing is, and I'll just be like candid about it, their parents just don't suck. I mean, that's like the honest to God truth. Like, their parents aren't complaining about everything all the time.
When it's about being a sports parent, they don't suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, they don't ever suck, but I'm saying like in regards to what we do,
It's hard. Being a sports parent is not easy.
Yeah.
I want my kid to be the best, but he just doesn't want to kick a ball.
Right.
What do I do?
Yeah.
I think
Scream at
it
him.
is hard. And we've all
Pretty good at that.
That's what a lot of people do. And I mean, I would say this, and I don't care if people hear it. My son struggles a bit, and I love this game, right? And my dream forever was like, man, I'm gonna have a kid, and he's gonna be the best soccer player in the world. I can't wait. And it's taken him a little longer to get into it. He loves it, which that's all. Now that I'm in this role, and I've seen, to be honest, so many great parents and so many horrible parents, I'm just going to sit back and watch. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yep.
If he's having fun and he loves it, cool, whatever. We'll keep going. Eventually, he's either going to be good or he's not. I'm going to be there to hug him at the end of the day either way, right? I'm proud of him and I love him. But there are so many kids, and these parents don't get it. They think, and they would hear this and still not believe it, but there are so many parents that their kids believe that the amount of love they get from their parents is based on how they perform on that court or how they perform in the soccer game. They're playing this game because they love it and it's fun, right? If they get done with something that was supposed to be fun and mom and dad are pissed and disappointed over a game, that takes a lot. I mean, they're playing it for love, and you're taking that away with disappointment at the end of the day. But back to with Carlos and Alex, and there's a list of other people too. We were just on those two, but their parents just don't suck. They were never the parents, never have been the parents that were like trying to like weasel their kid into a different team. Never complaining about like what team they got on. They never tried to win the game for their kid. Their kid just goes out there and he performs or he doesn't, and they leave and they come back the next week and try again. And we're not in the car for those rides home, but I've talked to the boys. I've talked to those kids. I'll ask them, like, what's that ride home look like? They said I should have worked a little harder, but nothing. We went to go eat afterwards. And then you talk to some of these kids, and it's like, oh, man, my dad he was screaming at me the whole way home. She was yelling at me the whole way home. Well, you're not going to love the game very long if every time you get done it's a disappointment, right? But that's my biggest thing is their parents just don't suck, which then causes them to love it more. And then they go train and they do all this extra stuff. And
well, they got to take ownership of it, right? They got to, like, if they really do love it that much and their parents are just like, okay, this is an opportunity we're providing for you. Good luck. Do well. If they love it enough, then they're going to find a way to succeed in that. And that's taking ownership of your own abilities, right?
Yeah.
And being inwardly motivated, self-motivated.
Yes.
a bunch of these people, their parents take so much more ownership over their performance than the kids do, especially at a young age, because the kids, and you can't ask, like right now we got, those are 2018s or something out there playing.
Yeah.
It's intense for 2018.
Yeah.
It's intense, but it's like, and the kids are having a blast, but they're just having fun. They're not taking ownership over their training right now. They're 6. Like they don't care.
They're running on pure instinct right now.
Yeah.
Watch and react.
But the thing is like the best moment of that game out there for any one of those kids, I guarantee you, is when something good does happen and all those parents cheer and go crazy. Yeah. It's the best moment in the world. But what people don't understand is those kids feel 10 feet tall when everybody starts cheering like that.
And they're like 2 feet tall, really.
Well, because how often in your life, as a kid that age, do your parents get that excited for something you do? Like, you bring home an A on your math test, do your parents stand up and scream and freak out in the living room? No. Yeah. Nothing in their life gets them the attention that they're getting right there. You're hearing it. They don't hear that anywhere else.
Right.
So, first of all, I think that's an important point. But second of all, if that's the highest of approval that a kid like that gets psychologically, then they're going to aim for that, which is great. You want them to do that. But if the opposite of that, when parents are disappointed about their performance, if that's the best of the best, then the worst of the worst is whenever something bad happens. So I just think parents a lot of times don't understand that, right? And the kids, we had a game a little bit ago. Not that I'm proud to admit this, but we had a game a little bit ago, first game of the season, that
thousands of games we've had.
Somehow the ref didn't catch that one team was playing with 6 players.
Oh,
they
wow.
played
to be fair, they're super tiny. It was dark green and a black colored jersey team. You know,
they're out there just playing with 6 players. The team with 6 players is winning the game, double digits. Like
to defend the ref, I guess nobody saw that they were playing with 6.
That's what It's the first thing I asked. Is like, nobody else noticed.
That's what I told him. He was like, I don't know how nobody else noticed, and I was like, well, but to be fair, you're the only one getting paid to notice.
That's true.
But the point is the kids didn't notice and didn't care, and they don't care now. They're all somewhere eating ice cream or chilling in their backyard. None of them care, right? They're just like
eating
they're
ice
having
cream.
a good time.
You remember that time we played against one more person?
It
was crazy, huh?
Don't care.
It was fun though.
Don't care. But I think that's to me is I don't want to say that's the biggest difference between like Carlos and Alex and everybody else, or like Rogelio. We got a bunch of kids from Oklahoma that are doing it now, but it is a for sure. Well, I'll say this. To me, what do all these kids have in common? There's a few things, but they don't all play the same way. They don't all have the same level of IQ.
They don't all play on the same team.
They don't all play on this. They didn't all come from the same club, but they all had cool parents. They all had parents that let them take ownership, stayed out of the way, and were just good sports.
Well, and what's
parents.
the opposite of that is parents that aren't around, which we've seen a lot in the history of sports, right? Athletes that have had to overcome adversity because maybe their parents were working all the time, or like they didn't have a parent, right? And so it lends itself to just being super independent, crafty, learning on your own, right? So
it's like the reminds me of the Talent Code. Have you ever read the Talent Code? It's
book.
Awesome. Yeah, it's Brandon Coyle, I think, wrote it. You need to read it though; it's incredible. It's basically about myelin and how the brain develops, how you become more talented, basically. And anyway, there's a lot of scientific stuff. But the cool thing about it is he traveled all over the world to all these different places where like the best of the best have been developed. Everything from like chess to tennis, soccer, baseball, and the reason I got put onto it is someone was like, hey, there's this one book, this really good book. It's a bestseller, and it talks about futsal. So that's the reason I read it. And then now it's like my favorite book. It's incredible. But it talks about how futsal will, like, you're doing everything at such a higher clip, and that it develops myelin quicker, and it makes you better faster. So that's the sell of futsal. But the more importantly is, like, with these with these players, like he's talking about like the adversity, right? Well, one of the things with baseball is that he went to the Dominican Republic and stuff. Like, why are there so many good baseball players coming out of the Dominican? Well, it's because they have difficult lives.
They survive.
They got to hit their way off the island.
They got one shot to get a better life. They can't stay here, or they've seen what that looks like. So they're like, we got to leave. I got to leave. Well, the only way I can get over there and do this is if I can hit this ball well.
It's a different level of hunger. Different level of
right.
100%.
Well, and I think like just because the guy that started all this with us, Kyle, he was a baseball scout for the Blue Jays for the first 8 years that we were starting Sports House. And I'll never forget this. He said, man, the difference between these baseball players that make it and the ones that don't is a player that makes it says, I get to hit, right? It's your turn to hit. Yes, I get to hit. Whereas a player that doesn't make it, it's your turn to hit. He says, I have to hit. You know, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go out there and hit the ball if you don't want to. But it's just that simple mindset shift, right? I have to go play futsal, or I get to go play futsal, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot. I guess there's a lot of factors that go into it, but that's where we got there, talking about the greats and what they're doing, and I'm excited to see what is to come. But since I have both of you guys here, I think now would be a good time also for you guys to share what is to come to Oklahoma City, because, you know, there's something big coming. So
yeah, there's a lot of big stuff coming.
We got this next month. We've got United Futsal's coming back, and you know, this is the third year for it. I think we talked about it in a previous episode, but we have it was the United Futsal ran like 12 of these big regional tournaments around the country last year, and Oklahoma City was the biggest, and we're expecting it to be even bigger this year. So the convention center is going to be unbelievably packed.
Probably the most that it's ever been, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. It's man, it was incredible last year.
98 teams.
Jesus.
Yeah, and from Florida, Colorado Rapids were there. I mean, it was
Next
Houston.
Level, Forms Academy.
Yeah.
So we'll have our regional tournament for the league that our academy plays in, and then there will be a showcase tournament that everybody can be in, right? So anybody that hears this, any of these club soccer teams that want to play in a big futsal tournament, right here in your backyard. And then also we have gotten the national tournament. We'll be here this summer. We do that at the fairgrounds. I think
which is unbelievable.
At the Bennett
a brand new fairgrounds.
I think we're going to do it in the Bennett Center, unless that's changed. I haven't heard anything, but I think it's going to be in the Bennett Center,
which is an unbelievable facility.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And then we'll have national training camp. We'll also be here attached to that. So, on 3 different occasions this year, the best of the best in the futsal world will be
here in
descending on Oklahoma City.
That's crazy that you guys have been able to be a magnet for that.
Right. Yeah, and I think that like it's extremely unique. I think it says a lot about not only futsal as a sport, Invicto as an academy, but it says a lot about Oklahoma City, right? I mean, that's like the 3 pillars for why these events are coming here. And I think it's unique that if you're, like for your kids, if they wanted to play futsal, they could play leagues in Oklahoma City. They could train during the week in Oklahoma City. They could play their regional tournament in Oklahoma City. Yeah. They can play their national tournament in Oklahoma City. And if they're good enough, they can also go to national training camp in Oklahoma City.
You used to have to go out of Oklahoma City to find the futsal, but now the futsal is coming to Oklahoma City.
Right. Yes.
It's going to become, I mean, the hope is that Oklahoma City kind of becomes the futsal mecca. You know how you have these soccer places that, like, everybody knows, like, we're gonna go to Overland Park at least once, right? Like, everybody knows you're going to Overland Park for soccer. And you go to the different regions of the country, and everywhere kind of has a spot like that where, well, we want to become that for futsal. And to kind of like, to build on what you said about like what it says about Oklahoma City, it's, it's taken a lot of work, and I think our club has hopefully contributed to that at some point. But I think, Football Factory, this podcast.
Fields and Futures.
Yeah.
OKCPS.
But Oklahoma City Public Schools, even the higher, like, Mayor Holt. You're talking about every level of this, from grassroots to podcasts to political figures are supporting this, right? They back it, and so it's like, our club, I think we get to benefit from it a lot, and we work hard to make sure this stuff comes off well. But man, there's got to be a lot of credit given to. There's a lot of people that support this, and not just like, hey, you guys you're doing good luck, and support it with words, but actually put money behind it and put work behind
manpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's crazy how it just feels like it's only just getting started. You know what I mean?
Like Kit says that a lot.
There's so much going on that you want to pat yourself on the back, but at the same time, you're just like, this is just the beginning. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. What are you guys' thoughts on the OKC for soccer? We'll talk about that and then try to go catch some more futsal.
For sure.
Go ahead, man.
I think it's indicative of everything we've been talking about, right? I mean, very few communities that I've been around have the ability and are small enough, right? And I know that sounds weird, counterintuitive maybe, but small enough to be like almost like intimate with the fan base, right? And so it's necessary. It only works with that kind of outreach and community, bringing everybody together, right?
I think that I like, people say a lot like, well, Oklahoma City doesn't have the market like a Dallas or a Seattle, and we don't. We're not gonna. We get a MLS team here. It's not gonna look like Seattle. It's not gonna look like Portland. But I think we are super unique in the fact of what you just said about like the people running our stuff here want to be intimate with the fan base. They want it to be a true partnership with the people that are here. So I think that is what. I mean, they can have those big stadiums.
It might not be Seattle, it might not be Portland, but it's going to be Oklahoma City.
And we're going to have our own unique way of doing it, and I think that's incredible. I think there's no telling what's going to happen. You put that type of brain trust together. Reading that list, and I was like, dude, this is the Avengers. Avengers assemble. This is crazy. But I think the other thing too is like it only makes sense because it needs to happen,
right,
like you said, but also because you look at the people on there, and I don't know personally everybody on there, but the people that I do know on there, I'm like, this is just a really good person that's like that has always wanted to help kids and will do whatever it takes to help kids. And then you got this person over here, they've always been the same way, and it's more than just words, it's action. We've seen them do it, and now they're
heavy hitters. Soccer
Yeah.
community.
It makes sense to bring all of them together and do that.
What are your thoughts on it?
I'm excited. I like the approach that they're having. It's giving the feeling that they care for what the community wants, and I'm looking forward to going out here in Skinny Slims on Monday and seeing what type of questions the community comes up with to ask Court, and just to kind of build upon that. I think it's super exciting. I love how they're incorporating the women's team as well because we talk pro team, and then for some reason it always tends to be about the men's, but the women's game is just as important, if not more, than the men's team.
Sure.
So seeing that's going to be great. Seeing a new stadium is going to be great. Filling the stadiums, and then seeing how they, build upon that with everyone else that's already playing soccer too. So I think it's just going to bring mass football.
Well, and like just speaking to like the women's side of it, right, which is vital, extremely important. I mean, especially I've got 3 daughters, is we're doing a watch party for the NWSL finals on November 23rd.
November 23rd.
Yeah, and hoping Yaz wins. I think they're playing in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, pretty quick.
To see. But Sean Jones and OKC, everything, like his team over there is fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to have an amazing watch party, and we'll get some stuff out on that.
Projectors, and there's going to be an atmosphere here. Selling drinks.
Yes, food. Got Brosco's chicken and waffles coming, which is incredible. And so, I just wanted to plug that because that's going to be an amazing event next Saturday from 7 to 9.
Are we going to get the churros?
I would like to get the churros.
Oh.
You got to get the churros.
Best churros in Spain. Right here in Oklahoma City.
Alex's family runs a churro truck.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
And they are, his dad is the king of churros.
Yeah, I'm really hoping I get some of those for Christmas this year, Rudy.
Is there anything else you guys want to plug before we head back? I've been going to the open play, so this is a great time for me to say how crazy open play's been.
Sammy's killing it.
Yeah. Sammy is killing it. Yeah, she's great.
She's so awesome, man.
So the other day I told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm going to go crazy if I don't titch a ball. So 8:30, I'm dipping.
Yeah.
And then normally is 9 because I have to put everybody to sleep. But I show up by myself. I don't have a set team, and I show up just to fill in. And it's been fun seeing the numbers go from like 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, and then just seeing the wide range of players. So you'll have like casuals like me. Mm-hmm. You'll have the younger crew who are a little bit faster. Mm. And then there'll be like the Invicto crew, because I can obviously tell when there's futsal players coming to play us outside, players, because they just move the ball differently. Yeah. And then you got the South Americans that come in, and they just play like at a different intensity. So it's just it's been fun seeing how people show up to play for fun. Other people show up just to be the king of the court, and it all just gels very well.
The culture is shining through
every time.
It's beautiful
every time.
So I love the culture of open play, what it's always been, because it's never like when we started doing it, we were a little bit worried that like, man, you put a bunch of grown men in here, we're gonna have fights, or we're gonna have, and it never has. Yeah. Everybody gets like that. There's a thin line between being competitive and trying to win and acting stupid, and we just ride that.
And we brush that line.
We just stay right there, and it's always been like, but that's where it needs to be, because if it gets too casual, then it's not fun, but if it gets too intense, then it's not fun, and you have to just stay.
I just put my kids to bed. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, right. I gotta work tomorrow, guys. I got a blister on my blister from last week. Like,
but thank you guys too, because like your platform, what you guys have built, it's really important to the city, but it's really important to this facility, So,
well, like the great Black Mamba said, after he won in the finals, job's not done.
Right? Yeah.
Job's
exactly.
not done.
Exactly.
So yeah, I appreciate you guys for coming on.
No,
this is gonna be a short little power hitter, but I do want to go see some futsal.
Yeah, let's go check it out, dude. Because Invicto's playing Black Lions.
That's a big game.
All right.
Thanks, Ricardo.
I appreciate you guys for listening. This has been another episode of the Más Fútbol Podcast. Stay tuned for more. Peace.